Instagram camera too, so that always takes an extra second or two. I'm going to talk for 24 minutes. Whatever platform you're on, send me your health questions. John will then read the questions to me. I will then go ahead and answer those questions for you if I have an answer. I usually do. Then I'll do another 24 minutes, and then we'll do that same thing again. We're going to answer your questions twice. This is a great opportunity. So please tell everyone on your platforms. Share this with all your contents. If you listen to the shows in the past, you know you're always going to walk away with information that's vital for your health. I've been my producer at the radio station, Ahmad's been with me for, 14, 16 years now. And he always says the same thing. He says, I always learn something new with you. He says, every show I've ever been with, I'm always learning something new. So it's going to be a lot of good information. So John has to just give me the okay to make sure our Instagram camera is running, and we'll get started. 6 inches this way. See, that's why we do this. See, we got to get everything set up here. We're good? All right. So, we're going to get started now. So here we go, John. Hey, folks, Dr. Joe Esposito here. We're going to talk today about anxiety, depression, actually any type of mood, which we all have moods, and what foods you need to avoid. Because so many people that have health issues, whether it's anxiety, depression, ADD, heart disease, diabetes, cancer, ED, digestive issues, whatever it is, it's self-induced. People are doing it to themselves, and they don't know it. I've been in practice 40 years now, and patients come to me all the time and say, I had no idea that my irritable bowel syndrome that happened this week, irritable bowel syndrome was being aggravated by bread. I love bread. Well, what happens is you eat bread, it has gluten in it, gliadin and gluten, and when you cook it, it creates gluten. Gluten's a protein, it irritates your bowels, and when you irritate the bowels, it causes an inflammatory reaction. When you cause an inflammatory reaction, the brain releases chemicals, endorphins, to try to cover up the pain. So you get high from it. So you're not realizing, my stomach is killing me, but I'm getting high from it, I want to get high again. And so that's why so many times we're doing things that make it worse. Because the body's reacting to try to cover up the pain, and you're liking that. And so I hear it all day, every day. It's wheat, it's dairy, it's alcohol, it's sugar, it's meats, it's coffee, it's soda, it's artificial sweetener. I get headaches from I get headaches. I don't know. I've never done artificial sweetener. But people get headaches from artificial sweetener, but they keep doing it. Why? Because when they get a headache, the body releases endorphins to try to cover up the headache, and they're getting high from it. I know it's a weird thing, but that's how the body works. So let's talk about the different things, the different foods, and different proactive steps you can take to help the brain work better. In this case, we're talking anxiety and depression, but I'm going to let you in on a little secret. It's for everything. The nice part is that, what we do is called functional medicine. I'm not a medical doctor, but it's called functional medicine, is getting to the cause of the problem, not just treating the symptoms. And that's what's so cool about what we do. In the past week, I'll tell you a little story real quick. In the past week, the past 2 weeks now, I've run into 3 medical professionals, an anesthesiologist, a pediatric expert, a pediatric ER doctor, and a general practitioner. And all of them said the same thing. Totally separate situations. They didn't know each other or anything. I want to do what you do. I want to learn what you know. Can I follow you around? I love your podcast. I've been listening to your podcast, one of them from New York. I've been listening to your podcast for a long time now, and I'm such a big fan. And they all say the same thing. I'm kind of bored. All 3 people, I'm bored. And I'm thinking, wow, you went to medical school 8 years and then your residency and you became an expert, you specialized, and you're bored. And what's fun about what we do is that we see great results. I was talking to a friend of mine who's a neurologist, and he had a patient that was dizzy. I'm going to get to my story, don't worry. And she was dizzy. And there's a technique you do called an Apley maneuver, where you turn the patient, you rock them backwards, and it shakes loose crystals in the ears, and it helps with dizziness. He was so excited that it worked. He said, I can't believe it. I did this thing that I learned in school. It actually worked, and the patient's dizziness got better. And I looked at him. I said, if we don't see a patient get better within the first half hour of every day that we're open, we're upset. He goes, I can't imagine that. Because a lot of times their patients don't get better. They just stabilize. We do medication. I'm not against medication. Please, this is not a dig on medicine. But we're looking at the results. And people love the results. And you got to get the nervous system working, digestive system working, and the diet. And that's what we try to teach you. So let's talk about the foods that you really need to avoid for all health functions, but specifically anxiety and depression. You wake up in the morning and you have yourself a big glass of orange juice. You think to yourself, I'm doing myself really well. I'm doing orange juice. This is great. Not a good idea. When you take a whole orange, it has phytonutrients in it. And I just read an article this week, a study that says the fiber, when the fiber's taken out, we thought the fiber was positive, but there's nutrients attached to the fiber that gets in your gut and are then released called phytonutrients. So if you're taking the fiber out, you're taking out a lot of other nutrients, not just the bulk. And so if you're drinking juice, it's going to spike your blood sugar. And I've done this. I had a sugar monitor, and I monitor my blood sugar, and I tested myself with different foods because I know what the books say. I know what the internet says. Let me see if it really works. And it was true. So I drank juice, boom, blood sugar shot up, and then boom, it crashed. And so when a sugar crashes, the brain runs on sugar. It's primary, glucose is the primary fuel that the brain likes. And we're not going to get into an argument over here about glycogens and glucose and protein, high protein foods. The brain likes glucose as its primary fuel. So you give the brain the juice, the sugar, spikes the brain function. It spikes the pleasure centers in the brain. Nucleus accumbens releases dopamine. You get high from it. And then you crash. Not a good idea. Because now you're messing with insulin sensitivity. So it's much better to eat the whole piece of fruit than it is the fruit juice. Now, even if it says 100% pure fruit juice, that's not still good because the fruit juice, some of it is fructose, but a lot of it is fructose. Fructose has to be converted into glucose. And when fructose converts into glucose, in order to make it the usable form of sugar, you create a waste product. And that waste product is called uric acid. And uric acid gets in your joints, and it hurts. Now, as a pain management specialist, I want my patient to get out of pain as quickly as possible. I want to get out of pain as quickly as possible. So here I am thinking I'm doing myself, do myself good by drinking orange juice in the morning or any type of juice. It's actually affecting the brain. It's affecting my glucose levels. It's affecting my uric acid levels. And uric acid, when it's produced, lowers the body's ability to produce nitric oxide. Nitric oxide opens up my blood vessels and increases circulation to my brain and my heart, my lungs, and everything else. So I gave you a real fast explanation of why fructose, even in the form of fruit juice is not good, but fructose in the form of fruit has the phytonutrients, other nutrients to offset the conversion process, and it's not good. It's not bad for you. It's actually good for you. So eating whole fruit, yes. Fruit juice, no. And you'll see it. You'll see when you do a lot of sugar in the form of fruit juice, you're not going to feel good. You eat a piece of fruit, you feel great. So just stay away from the juice. Now you're thinking to yourself, well, I like something sweet, so I'm going to have soda. Of course, right? Soda's it's everywhere. God, I saw the numbers on how much money is spent on soda every year. I wish I could remember those numbers. Like insane amounts of money. And the restaurants love selling you soda because it's a really high profit item. Huge profit item. Costs them very little bit, and that's why they give you free refills. And they say, drink all the soda you want because the sugar, and many restaurateurs don't know this, it's cheap, but the sugar can actually make you hungry. And so what do you want to do? You want to eat more. So there's a reason why we love giving away free refills of soda, and it's a high profit item to begin with anyway. So soda, not much of a better choice. Again, its high sugar intake has been directly linked to depression. We know that. It's not a question about it. So really want to avoid that. So you want a soda. The good news is we have options. And the good news is about everything I teach you when it comes to nutrition, there's options for everything. Now, 40 years ago when I started this crazy journey, there weren't as many options. But now there's options for everything, what I call the 7 deadly sins of nutrition: alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. I know that's your whole diet, right? But if you're eating the 7 deadly sins, alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener, there's substitutes for everything on the market right now that are as good or better, which is kind of nice. So there are sodas now, which didn't exist 40 years ago, that are sweetened with things like stevia, Lohan. Much better choices. And here's what's going to happen. After you start drinking these, first time you're going to drink is, it's okay. It's not as good as the real thing. That's okay. It's not bad. And after 2 or 3 or 4 of these sodas, you're going to start to like them. And then somewhere in your journey, you're going to switch back to regular soda. I don't know why, but you're going to try it. It's going to be so disgustingly sweet. You're going to go, how did I ever drink this stuff? Everyone says this. So that's why you can go to stevia sodas. Now, they're a tiny bit more expensive. And most places don't carry them. You maybe have to get them at a health food store, a grocery store. Grocery store, I'd say health food store. Grocery stores carry it. I shop at Sprouts a lot. Sprouts carries it. Kroger, Publix, they all carry them, the grocery stores. And get the stevia sweetened sodas. So much better for you. less toxic. No fructose. Fructose converts it to uric acid. Uric acid lowers your nitric oxide production. It takes a lot of energy. We did a show last week on the mitochondria. That's the part of the cell that generates electricity. And we talked about how if you use sugar as its primary fuel, plain old table sugar, the mitochondria isn't very effective, and it produces free radicals called reactive oxygen species that actually attack the cell. When you're using whole foods, like let's say a whole fruit with all the vitamins, minerals, nutrients, and everything, it goes through a different process, and it doesn't spike those free radicals to attack the cell. So there's so many scientific reasons why you want to stay away from sugar, and that goes for soda, but you have options. You want something sweet? Stevia, Lohan, allulose. Now, allulose isn't nearly as sweet as stevia and Lohan, but allulose is another option too. And allulose is a prebiotic. It actually feeds the good bacteria in your colon. And we're going to find out today, in fact, coming up next, that the colon has a direct impact on brain function and mood. In fact, probably more than anything else. And yet, we beat the heck out of our colons every day. And then we expect our brains to work. They can't. So if you're suffering from depression, let's assume it's loss of a loved one. Someone dies. Maybe the person you're dating leaves you. Maybe you lose a job. And you get depressed. We all get depressed. That's normal. That's okay. And then you have to understand that when you keep your body healthy, you're able to work through that process, healthy people can, and get better. But if you're not helping yourself, if you're eating the junk foods and the sugars and the donuts and the cookies and the cakes and the breads, that depression is going to get a lot worse. It has to. It's how the brain works. So we have options for sweeteners. And they even have stevia. I saw it at Walmart one day. It's stevia that has some fillers in it, and you could use it cup for cup as you would with sugar. Now, does it taste as good as sugar? No. Does it bake as good as sugar? No. Is it better for you? A million times yes. So you just have to change your taste buds and decide, okay, I'm okay to give up a little bit of that very, very hyper-palatable sugar flavor for a longer life and a healthy life and a better brain. And it's certainly worth it. And once you get used to it, it's fine. So speaking about that, let's talk about something else that's bad for your brain. Bread. Toast. Now, when you make toast, if you lightly toast it, probably not that big a deal. But if you like your toast dark, you're creating a chemical called acrylamide. Acrylamides are linked to cancer. So whenever you have something crispy, that could be crackers, could be toast, could be French fries, all these things, when you get that burnt carbohydrate flavor that tastes so good, I'm not going to say it doesn't taste good, it does, those are acrylamides. And long-term, they can be linked to cancer. So you're thinking to yourself, well, I don't feel like eating today. Anybody been so depressed they don't feel like eating aside from me? I remember when my parents passed away, each one of them. I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to socialize. I didn't want to do anything. I remember one of my parents passed away right before Christmas, and I sat home that Christmas. And I had like 5 different people say, come on out, let's get together, let's be with people, it's Christmas. I said, no, I don't want to. I have to go through this grieving process, and I understand it. It's a natural process to go through, knowing that I'm going to come out on the other end. But I knew what to do about it. I took the right nutrients, I took my B vitamins, I took my omega-3 fatty acids, I took Dr. Joe's Super Greens, Dr. Joe's Essential Source, and I grieved an appropriate amount of time. I got through my grieving, and my cousin, I remember when my mother passed away, she said, it never goes away. You just get used to it. That's a big statement right there. The grieving, you don't have to get over it. You just have to get used to it, move on with your life. And that's okay. That's normal. But we do that because the brain is able to function normally. If the brain gets stuck somewhere, simple way to put it, that's when we start having some serious problems. So you're going to say, I don't feel like eating today. I'm just going to have a piece of bread and butter. Not a good idea. Because that bread is going to turn into sugar. And also, the wheat in the bread, I'm assuming you're eating wheat bread, is most likely sprayed with something called glyphosate. Glyphosate is a weed killer. Now, why would we spray wheat with a weed killer? It's not a weed. Well, farmers realize that if we spray it with glyphosate, it's easier to harvest because it's dead. If you ever try to pull a dead weed out of the ground, it's easier than pulling a live weed out of the ground. So by spraying it with glyphosate, you cut it down. It's a lot easier to harvest. They save money, but some of that glyphosate is going to remain in the food that you're eating. Glyphosate not only kills weeds, it can kill the good bacteria in your colon. And the good bacteria in your colon produce chemicals that make the brain work. For example, tryptophan becomes serotonin. Tryptophan is an amino acid. And you get that with a healthy digestive system. You're breaking down proteins. You get amino acid tryptophan. Tryptophan goes into the small intestine, combines with vitamin B6, so you have to have enough vitamin B6, creates a chemical called 5-HTP, which then converts into serotonin. 95% of the serotonin is produced in your gut. So you have to have healthy bacteria in order to absorb the nutrients to produce the serotonin. Then serotonin travels via the blood system or the vagus nerve into the brain, and it calms you down. Serotonin becomes melatonin, which then helps you sleep. It's a lot of chemistry I just gave you in 1 minute there, wasn't it? Bottom line is if you're killing off the good bacteria in your colon, you're not able to convert the food you're eating into healthy molecules to go up to the brain to make the brain work. So you're eating wheat. Not only do you have the sugar to spike the blood sugar and then to crash, you have gluten, which is an irritant to many people in the bowels, which can cause inflammation. Inflammation in the brain can increase depression and anxiety. And you got glyphosate, which is killing off the bacteria, which helps you absorb your nutrients to send it to the brain to make the brain work. All that from a piece of toast. That's a lot, huh? So I'm giving you a lot of information today, and I get that. And some days I get a little nerdy and I get a little geeky, and I'm doing that today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you a guide, basically the notes of this show with a very simple breakdown of what we're talking about, and it's going to be called Anxiety Guide or Depression Guide. Just call it the Anxiety Guide. Let's call it the Anxiety Guide. We'll all do the same thing. Send me an email through my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. And a little bot pops up, says, hey, want to chat? Or it says, contact us, but the bot is fine. And just say Anxiety Guide. And I'll send you the notes for today's show with all the information on it, absolutely free. It's my gift to you. And it's going to give you the guide of what we're talking about. I know I talk fast. I know I talk geeky and nerdy sometimes, but I want to get the information to you. And then you have it. You could read it. You could hold it. You can put it on your screen, print it out. Absolutely free. Just send Anxiety Guide to drjoe.com. I'll send it over to you. So we're talking about food today that you absolutely positively want to avoid, not only for anxiety and depression, but for pretty much all brain function. And it's important that the brain get the right nutrients. It also has to get the right blood supply. And the brain has to get excited. It has to get information. It needs stimulation. So just listening to things like my shows, my podcasts, that is very stimulating to the brain. Because if you'll notice, I talk fast and then I stop. And sometimes I don't finish sentences properly. There's a reason for that. The reason is I find that people's brains are paying attention when it's scattered, when it goes up and down and you don't finish sentences and people go, oh, what was he talking about? Oh, that sounded interesting. And so you focus more. Most of us drift away. I do too. But this is a good way to do it. So go follow me on social media. We post every single day, but that's only going to give you about a 1-minute tip. But Dr. Joe Esposito, Facebook is the Dr. Joe Esposito. But the podcast, Dr. Joe for the Health of It. We put out at least 2 podcasts a week, sometimes more. So follow my podcast, Dr. Joe for the Health of It, and you're going to get at least 2 podcasts a week, good information, stimulating to the brain. So not only is the information stimulating to the brain, you can then take this information and apply it to your practical life. For example, the food we're talking about today. And then make sure the brain gets enough nutrition. The minimum supplements I would recommend for anyone would be Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. They're 2 powders, prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes, complete multivitamin, a chlorella to help detoxify the liver. So, Super Greens and Essential Source, B-complex, methylated B-complex. If it's not methylated, about 60% of us can't use most of it anyway. A methylated B-complex and then vitamin D3 with K2. That's the starter kit. Super Green Essential Source, D3, and B-complex. Now, I would add more to that. For brain function, I would add omega-3 fatty acids. I take 2 Dr. Joe's vegan omega-3s every day. The bottle says 1, I take 2. I would suggest nitric oxide. Nitric oxide opens up the blood vessels and increases circulation. And you want to get proper nerve supply, and that's where chiropractic care comes in. How do you know you're a chiropractic patient? Do you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, knee pain, sciatica? Come see us. Headaches. Chiropractic, most effective, least expensive treatment for pain, back pain. So you can book an appointment, drjoe.com. Normally the first visit is $940. I've reduced that to $299 for my listeners. That's an exam, x-rays, consultation, first treatment, going over the x-rays, and a complete nutrition evaluation. Now we know where to go. Is it a chiropractic case? Is it a nutrition case? Is it a digestive case? Maybe you need therapy. I support therapy 100%. I've been through very tough times in my life, and when I do, I rely on a therapist to help me through it. because I need somebody to talk to. I need somebody to say, hey, what's the best approach for this? So I'm not against that. But if we get the nervous system working, we get the digestive system working, and we get the diet straightened out, so many therapists send me their cases, and they get so much better results. So if you want to make an appointment, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. We accept most insurances, car accidents, sports injuries. Get to the cause of your healthcare problem. Don't just treat the symptoms. And that's what we want to do. So if you're just tuning in, we're talking about foods to avoid for anxiety and depression. You're going to eat a salad every day, I hope. But some of you are doing something that I want you to stop. And that's adding a dressing that has a lot of chemicals in it. Many times the light dressings. Oh, this is good. It's low in sugar. It's better for me. Well, many times it's high in artificial sweeteners. And artificial sweeteners have been linked to brain malfunction in many cases. So please stay away from the artificial sweeteners. Read the ingredients. If it says aspartame, sucralose, acesulfame K, saccharin, I'm going to strongly advise that you don't do that one. If you need a salad dressing, oil and vinegar is probably going to be your best bet. Raw organic apple cider vinegar actually stimulates your digestive enzymes to help break proteins into amino acids. Amino acids become neurotransmitters, and the brain works better. So raw organic apple cider vinegar, and the oils you want to use for salad dressing will be extra virgin organic olive oil or organic avocado oil. That's it. Now, how do you know you have a good olive oil? I'm Italian. I'm a little picky on this. Take a little bit of the olive oil, put it in the refrigerator overnight. If it gets cloudy, it's a good olive oil. If it doesn't get cloudy, bring it back to the store. It's been cut with probably soybean oil or something like that. I read an article, and I don't know if it's valid or not, said about 70 to 80% of all the olive oils in this country, United States, are cut with cheap oils. Extra virgin, organic from one source. That's going to be your best bet. I found that Sprouts brand, the store Sprouts, their house brand, organic, seems to fit all the needs. I put it in the refrigerator, it gets cloudy, it has a real rich taste to it. So it passed my muster and has a good flavor to it too. But organic, extra virgin, just because it's expensive doesn't mean it's better. That's what you're looking for. And avocado oil also is very good for salads. If you're going to cook with oils, extra virgin organic coconut, if it's a high temperature, you can use olive oil if it's going to be a very low temperature. And that's it. We did a show a couple of weeks ago on the dangers of the omega-6 fatty acids, the seed oils. I've been talking about this for years and years and years, and now finally it's making mainstream media. I guess I am mainstream media, so I guess it's okay. So it's making the mainstream media now, and I'm glad that people are finally catching on. So make your own salad dressings. If you don't know what to make, if you don't like oil and vinegar, first book I ever wrote is called Eating Right for the Health of It. And in that book, we have a whole chapter on nothing but salad dressings. So you can get a PDF of it. It's really cheap. We can get you a hard copy. Yes, good old-fashioned copy of a book. If you ask me to autograph it, John, my shipper, will make sure it's autographed. Hopefully. Sometimes things slip through the cracks. But there are plenty of options out there. And when I say salad, I'll go off on a tangent here. You usually think like salad, lettuce, right? Oh, I'm bored with lettuce. I get bored with lettuce too. How about a cabbage salad? How about a cucumber salad? How about an avocado, mango, tomato, basil salad? How about a 3-bean salad with some onions and cilantro? So when I think salad, you think lettuce, but there's other options as well. You can do a potato salad. Cook the potatoes, organic. Cool them overnight. You create something called a resistant starch. Then make your potato salad. And the resistant starch, about 40% of it becomes a prebiotic, which feeds the good bacteria in your colon. If you're paying attention, we learned that good bacteria helps what? Your brain and your immune system. I did a show a couple of weeks ago on GLP-1s, the drugs a lot of people are taking to lose weight. And if you're eating a lot of resistant starches, you feed the bacteria in your colon to produce short-chain fatty acids like butyrate. Butyrate gets absorbed by the L cells in your colon, and L cells release GLP-1. So, and again, I'm almost out of time on this segment here. I know I'm talking fast. If you want today's notes, just go to my website, drjoe.com, send me an email, and say anxiety guide. And I'll send you the notes for this show with all the recommendations. It's really nicely laid out. It's really simple, absolutely free. It's my gift to you. We have podcast, Dr. Joe for the Health of It. We have social media. I post every day. Dr. Joe Esposito. Facebook is the Dr. Joe Esposito. We have the website with over 4,000 hours of content that you can search. You can send me questions through the website. Any health question you have, drjoe.com. I'll answer your question for you if I have an answer. How much more information can I give you? It's a lot of stuff. 4,000 or 5,000 hours of information I'm offering to you absolutely free. If you want to make an appointment, drjoe.com. Folks, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. We'll be right back. I got through 3 of the 25 points I want to cover today. That's why we have to give away the notes. All right, what else you got today for me, John?
Will lipase dissolve plaque in the artery walls?
Say it again.
Will lipase dissolve plaque in the artery walls?
No. No, lipase helps break down fats in your digestive system. If you want to dissolve plaque in the artery walls, you got to change your diet. Okay, Dr. McDougall did research several years ago, and he says, I wonder if there's a way to reverse heart disease, plaquing of the arteries. And he did a lot of research, and he's proven that a plant-based diet, everything I've been teaching you, in most cases improves it, and in many cases reverses the plaquing. Okay? So don't think I'm going to take a supplement and dissolve the plaque. It ain't going to work. I wish there was. There are some supplements that might work, but I'd rather see you do the whole dietary change. So if you just do what if you send me an email, drjoe.com, say, plaque, I'll send you the protocol that I recommend for my patients. So what else?
I've heard that an ApoB test is far better at predicting heart attacks than LDL-C test. Do you agree?
Yes. That's kind of a new test out. I did a whole show on it maybe about a year ago. Yeah. So, yeah, you want to get that added to your testing. Absolutely. And a lot of doctors are doing it now. And again, science changes. It's not like the doctors held it out from you. Science is changing, and I change with it too. So, but nothing changes when it comes to plant-based diet. I'm still stuck on that. What else you got?
Why is oatmeal considered a bad breakfast food if it lowers cholesterol numbers?
It spikes your blood sugar like crazy. Most of the commercial oatmeal is sprayed with glyphosate. So if you're going to eat oatmeal and you want to get all the benefits and none the downside, steel-cut organic oats. What did I say? Steel-cut organic. Okay, remember those 3 words, steel-cut organic. Then that can actually help with the cholesterol. And again, it's a minor change. It's not going to blow your cholesterol, off the chart or lower it. But you're going to get all the nutrients from it and the fiber from it without the glyphosate, the weed killer, and without spiking the sugar. So steel-cut organic is the way to go.
Is a sweet potato okay for a full meal?
Yes, absolutely. Just the best way to do it is cook it, cool it overnight, eat it the next day. You're going to get way more benefit from it than if you cook it and eat it right away. So, what else?
My inner wrists are dry and itchy, and in between my fingers are also itchy. Is that psoriasis? Are there any natural remedies?
Sounds like it could be psoriasis, eczema. There's a lot of different skin conditions it could be. It could just be dry skin. Maybe you wash your hands with a caustic soap. Whenever I see a skin condition, the first thing I think is liver, because the liver detoxifies through the skin. And in most cases, if we clean up the liver, skin conditions go away. So here's what I recommend you do. Cut out all wheat and all dairy products right away. No wheat, not a little, not a bite, not a sip, not a nibble. 0 for 2 weeks. Get on Dr. Joe's Super Greens, Dr. Joe's Essential Source, Dr. Joe's Glutathione. And if your bowels are working properly, great. If they're not moving at least once or twice a day, Dr. Joe's Intestinal Formula. Give me 2 weeks. Let's see if I'm right. Chances are I am. Okay, so Super Green, Essential Source, Glutathione, and Intestinal Formula. Chances are that's what it is. That's what usually helps with cases like that. No wheat, no dairy. What else?
That is all.
That's easy. All right, good. All right, take another sip of my tea here. And we'll get ready for part 2. Okay. Ready? Hey, folks, Dr. Joe Esposito. If you stayed with me, thank you. If you just joined me, welcome. Glad you could be here. We're talking today about foods to avoid if you have anxiety, depression. And I'm going to be honest with you. The same thing I'm telling you about anxiety, depression works for just about everything. But we're focusing on anxiety, depression today and the mechanism behind how these foods affect anxiety, depression. It's a different mechanism that may affect cancer. A different mechanism may affect heart disease, clogging the arteries, erectile dysfunction, obesity. But it's still the same food. It just goes through a different mechanism of getting there. One of them, which I found funny for a long time, I don't know if it's still the case, in Georgia, they were calling ketchup a vegetable. Now, ketchup is made with tomatoes, which really is a fruit, not a vegetable, which kind of makes that whole statement ironic. But ketchup can be up to 42% sugar, many times high fructose corn syrup. If you're just tuning in, fructose has to be converted into glucose for the body to utilize it. It happens in the liver, and when fructose converts into glucose, a waste product is produced called uric acid. Uric acid gets in your joints and it hurts. And as a pain management doctor, I want to get my patients out of pain as quickly as possible, and I want to get myself out of pain as quickly as possible. Uric acid prevents proper nitric oxide production. Nitric oxide opens up your blood vessels and increases circulation to every part of your body, including your brain. So ketchup, not a good idea. I am seeing now more and more, which makes me happy, happier, ketchup made with no fructose. So Dr. Joe was right. We'll put that in the Dr. Joe was right column. One of the things that concerns me, though, is ketchup is oftentimes in a plastic bottle. And tomatoes are acidic. They're acid. And they can leach plastic off the bottle and put it into the foods, and that's microplastics. I'm going to do a show on that in a couple of weeks. I haven't put it together yet. Microplastics, bisphenol A, which sometimes lines things like cans and packages to make things slide out easier. They disrupt your hormones. They're endocrine disruptors, xenoestrogens, foreign estrogens that get into the body and really blow up your hormones. So if you're going to do ketchup, sugar-free in a bottle is your best bet. Sugar-free in a bottle doesn't taste as good as the one made with sugar. Not going to lie to you. But you shouldn't be eating ketchup anyway, is the bottom line, okay? I made my own ketchup already. I didn't have some at home one day, so I looked up a recipe, and I used tomato paste, and tomato paste in a jar, in a glass jar, because tomato paste in a can, the can probably has bisphenol A in it, and bisphenol A is an endocrine disruptor. And it was good. It wasn't as good as the commercial stuff. I'm not going to lie to you. So ketchup, not a good idea. If you need something, somebody sent me a message the other day, and they said, Dr. Joe, I want to use mayonnaise. And I said, don't do it. It has a lot of bad oils in it, seed oils. And I said, what about the vegan mayonnaises that are out there? Again, seed oils, canola oil, corn oil, not a good idea. And he said, so what do I do? I like mayonnaise on my sandwiches. Well, the bread you should be using, and the only bread you should be using, is sprouted bread. Ezekiel is a brand name, but Publix has their own, Sprouts has their own, Kroger has their own. Sprouted bread, much easier to digest, doesn't spike your blood sugar like the other ones, and it doesn't have glyphosate in it because we spray it with wheat. Remember, we sprayed wheat with glyphosate. I said you can do something like a smashed up avocado. Creamy and fatty, kind of like mayonnaise. You can use hummus. Hummus on a sandwich is amazing as a spread. Mustard is another option. Oil and vinegar, another option. So just read the ingredients. If it has corn oil, canola oil, soybean oil, cottonseed oil, safflower oil, don't use it. Vegetable oil, don't use it. Trying to add quality years to your life. Many quality years to your life. And we have the science. We just have to implement it. Now, I like mayonnaise. I'm not going to lie to you. My father did not like mayonnaise. Anything creamy, he hated. In fact, a little funny story. When my mother and father first met, my mother's German, my father's Italian. My father had never seen brown gravy in his entire life. So my mother brings him to meet my grandparents. My grandparents, very happy. My mother's dating someone. And nice Italian boy. So they make something called Sauerbraten and Kartoffelgulasch. It's a German dish, absolutely one of my favorite dishes in the world. I don't eat it because it's Sauerbraten is meat. So they made it with a brown gravy. Now, Kartoffelgulasch are potato dumplings. So if you can imagine if you had chicken and dumplings kind of along that line, only made with potatoes and flour as opposed to just flour and water. So they're very gooey and chewy. Not a lot. You need the gravy on them is what the bottom line is. My father wouldn't eat the brown gravy. My grandmother told this story till the day she died. She goes, I remember your father coming over, and he would not eat the brown gravy, and he's eating the Kartoffelgulasch, the potato dumplings. And she goes, he's just trying to swallow them and chew them, and it's just stuck in his throat. And she goes, we were laughing after he left. But I say that to say that you can do other options on top of things, okay? So you can make a brown gravy, if you want to, with mushrooms, and you don't have to have meat in it. And that's the way I like it. I love brown gravy, actually. So you have other options to put on your food. You don't have to put the mayonnaise on it. Now, my father, again, never liked mayonnaise, and so anything with mayonnaise he would just refuse to eat. So he never had mayonnaise. It wasn't a problem for him. He would do mustard. He would do oil and vinegar because he was Italian, little oregano. So there are other options you can do. So don't think if I can't have my mayonnaise, I can't eat anything. I love growing tomatoes. I love gardening. When tomato season hit, if you're a gardener, you know there's tomatoes all over your house. You can't give them away. It's like, want some tomatoes? No, I'm good. How about you? How about you? No, I'm good. So I got a lot of tomatoes. And so if I have a tomato sandwich, sprouted bread, hummus, pesto. I grow basil as well. You can make a pesto with basil, pine nuts, extra virgin organic olive oil, salt and pepper, garlic if you want to. And you could use that as a spread. Hummus, like we said, great spread. So there's lots of things you can do. You don't have to use ketchup or mayonnaise. It's American, isn't it? But may not be the best thing for you. We're talking about anxiety and depression today and things you want to avoid. Caffeine is one of them. Now, this is a tough one. And the reason is that about 70 to 80% of people in this country have some type of stimulant every day. That's why the coffee shops are making a killing on $8 coffees, $10 coffees. Blows my mind that somebody would spend that kind of money on coffee. But that's my opinion. Coffee gives me a headache, so I can be biased. But caffeine, not a good idea for the brain. It can really increase anxiety and depression. Caffeine from tea, coffee, chocolate. So what do we do about that? I like warm drinks. Even in the summer, I like warm drinks. You can do herbal teas. Now, here's something I'm going to cover in my microplastic show that's coming up that I don't have written yet, is that tea bags. I found this out just recently. Again, we're always learning new things. The tea bags are made with paper, and they're lined with a plastic. That's why the tea bag doesn't fall apart. You put the tea bag in the hot water, plastic melts. That's why over time, eventually the tea bag breaks down, the plastic breaks down. If the tea bag breaks down, guess what? All the plastics are in your food, in your tea. You're drinking that, and the microplastics affect brain function, affect sexual function, hormone function, the immune system. So what I do, and I went to Amazon, and I looked up tea balls. If a tea ball is a little metal container, and I got 3 round ones for $12, I think it was. Has a little chain on it. And now what I do is I use loose tea. And I feel the tea ball doesn't need a lot of tea, maybe a half a teaspoon for a cup of tea. And I put it in the stainless steel container, and then I put it in the hot water with stevia. Another step. Always learning new things. I just learned this a couple of months ago. I had tea bags at home. What am I going to do? Well, if you don't want to throw your tea bags out, I'd rather you just throw them out because they probably have microplastic in the tea. Cut the tea bag open, put the contents in the tea ball, and then cook it that way. Oh, just brew it that way. Sweeten with a little stevia, you're golden. Now, what happens when you get tired? You get tired, first thing you do, I want a cup of coffee. Wake up in the morning, have coffee. Have coffee with lunch. 3 o'clock coffee or tea break. In England, they have tea. Coffee. 3, 4, 5 cups a day many people have. And the caffeine stimulates the brain and it stimulates the nervous system, and it gives you a rush of energy. I get that. But what happens is, why does it affect the brain? How does caffeine actually stimulate the brain? You have a chemical in your brain called adenosine. Adenosine is released in your brain, gets absorbed at adenosine receptor sites, and makes you tired. So I have a long day. My brain says, I got to shut down. And the brain detoxifies itself. Okay, we learned something. Another thing we learned recently is the brain cleans itself out with something called the glymphatic system. Glymphatic system is a way to flush toxins out of the brain. The glymphatic system works best when you're sleeping. So when you get tired, the brain is saying, all right, I want to shut down, kick into my glymphatics, and clean out my brain. Start fresh. Well, you're saying, nope, I'm not going to let you rest. I'm going to drink some caffeine, which is going to block my adenosine receptor sites. So again, adenosine is a chemical released in your brain. When it gets absorbed, it makes you tired. Caffeine blocks up the adenosine receptor sites so the adenosine can't get absorbed. And so now you don't get tired. Now it affects this other nervous system differently too, but that's how it works in the brain. But your brain is smarter than you. Your brain says, hey, Joe, I need to sleep. You're an idiot. I'm going to produce more adenosine receptor sites and absorb more caffeine, more adenosine, because I got to sleep. That's why it used to take 1 cup of coffee to get you stimulated. Now it takes 2, maybe 3, maybe 4. I had a patient, his name was Yogi, many, many years ago, and he drank, I think, 45 cups of coffee a day, literally nonstop coffee all day. He lost his business. He lost his family. He was so wired, his brain couldn't function anymore. And boy, trying to cut him off the coffee was tough. It took me about 4 or 5 days to get him off the coffee. Okay? So it can be done, by the way. You can quit coffee. So you start coming off the coffee, the brain changes its physical structure because now it has all this adenosine, and the caffeine isn't blocking it up anymore, and so that can give you the headaches. That's why when you come off coffee, in the first book I ever wrote, Eating Right for the Health of It, we have a chapter on this. What you want to do is put a cup of organic black coffee in front of you and take 1 tablespoon every hour. And the longest it's taken, Yogi was the longest patient I've ever had, about 4 or 5 days, he finally was able off his coffee. That's a man who's drinking tens and tens of cups of coffee a day. Got him off in about 4 or 5 days. So the brain will reset itself. The brain wants to absorb adenosine. It wants to get tired. It wants to sleep. And you keep fighting it with the caffeine. Also, coffee is one of the most highly sprayed foods with chemicals in the world. chemicals, pesticides, anti-fungicides. Fungicide is an anti-fungicide. That's redundant. Antifungal chemicals. So what happens is when you put these chemicals in your body, they kill off bacteria in your colon. And if you listened earlier, we said the colon has bacteria in it that produce chemicals and absorb nutrients to make the brain work better. So you're drinking coffee, and you're killing, because it's not organic, you're killing off the good bacteria in the colon, it's affecting brain function. So not only is the caffeine affecting the adenosine receptor sites in the brain, you're killing off the good bacteria. So if you're going to drink coffee, and I wish you wouldn't, but if you're going to drink coffee, organic only, and start cutting back. And again, if you want to cut out really fast, 1 tablespoon every hour. No cream, no sugar, no whipped cream. 2 tablespoons an hour if you need it. That'll help the brain reset itself and reduce the headaches as well. But coffee, not a good idea for anxiety and depression because it is a stimulant. The brain isn't able to rest. It isn't able to get the lymphatic system working when you sleep to clean out the toxins, and it's killing off the good bacteria in your colon. There's a lot going on in a cup of coffee, isn't there? And it's an acid, by the way. An acid robs the body of calcium. And when you put acid in the body uses calcium to neutralize the acid so you don't go into acidosis, and you lose calcium as well. And calcium is necessary for muscle function, brain function, blood vessel function, bone health. So, yeah, you're doing a lot of things with that cup of coffee. And I hate to break it to you. Now, what I do for energy, what does Dr. Joe do? He always seems energetic. He's old. How does he keep his energy level? Dr. Joe's B complex, absolutely, every day, because B vitamins are necessary for nerve function. Dr. Joe's nitric oxide support. Nitric oxide opens up the blood vessels and increases circulation to the brain, the heart, the lungs. I have to be careful because when I do radio shows or lectures at night, I always take my nitric oxide. And I come home, if I didn't take my nitric oxide, when I go home, I go into a normal rest and I shut down and I go to sleep. The other day I did a show and I was on until about 10 o'clock at night. And I took nitric oxide beforehand. And I got home, I was wide awake. I wasn't jittery, I wasn't caffeine jittery, I was wide awake. And so it took me a while to get my nitric oxide through my system so that I can go to sleep. And it's okay. I don't have a problem with that. We're coming out with a chewable nitric oxide energy supplement in about 2 or 3 weeks, actually. And it's going to have ginseng nitric oxide. It's a chewable, sweetened with stevia. And everyone loves it. Oh, my gosh. People are going crazy over it. So John tells me, my supplier here, he tells me it's going to be here in 2 weeks. So I'm going to believe him. So, yeah, get ready for that. So B vitamins, nitric oxide, and then Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. I tell people take it in the morning. That's the minimum supplements everybody should be taking anyway. But I take it in the mornings. If I take it at night, I don't have caffeine energy. I'm just wide awake. So it depends how you want to plan your day. Okay. So supplementation is key for good energy, and that goes the same with energy drinks. Energy drinks have caffeine in them, sky-high caffeine, as a matter of fact. Guarana, which is another stimulant that's oftentimes in there. Artificial sweeteners, we talked about that, how it affects the brain. Aspartame can actually kill off the good bacteria in the colon as well. And again, the colon is so important. So I would strongly advise staying away from the energy drinks, the caffeines. Nitric oxide, B complex, Super Greens, Essential Source, that's my source of energy. Because I'm old too and I get tired, I get it. So what do? Sometimes we need a boost. We have the natural boost. And then you have actually good effects from it, not bad effects from it. Other things that make you tired. We talked about caffeine affecting the adenosine receptor sites. How about pain? Pain is exhausting. I have a traumatic brain injury. I was hit by a car when I was 10 years old. I was in a coma for several days. Didn't think I was going to live. In fact, at the scene, they covered me up with a cloth. They thought I was dead. And when they put me in the ambulance, I moved. That's how severe the traumatic brain injury was. My body actually shut down. And so things like caffeine blow out my brain. I get such a bad headache. I have a bad shoulder. I damaged my shoulder as well. I guess it was in the accident. I don't even know. I played hockey. I played football. I don't know. And if my shoulder comes out of alignment, I get a headache. Now, there's no direct connection between my acromioclavicular joint in my shoulder and my atlas and C1 occiput area where I get my headaches. There's no connection there. But I know that if my shoulder comes out of place, I'll feel it grinding. I'll go to one of my doctors. I'll say, adjust my shoulder, adjust my shoulder, adjust my neck, and my headaches go away. 100% of the time. It never fails. So my pain is directly linked to bones out of place, pinching nerves. Most of you who have pain, it's because of pinched nerves. Chiropractic care, most effective, least expensive treatment for back pain. So if you have pain, I'm telling you right now, the chances are very high that you're suffering needlessly. Stop your whining, stop your complaining. Now, you can come see us. We can't help everyone, but most cases get better. I've had husbands, wives, spouses, family send me flowers, send me fruit baskets. Thank you for giving me my mother back. Thank you for giving my father back. Thank you for letting me sleep again. Thank you for saving our marriage. Because pain is exhausting. So if you have pain, go to my website, drjoe.com. Book an appointment to come see us. Atlanta area, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. Normally, the first visit is $940. For you, my listeners, because you guys are special to me, I've reduced the price to $299. That's an exam, x-rays, consultation, first treatment, going over the x-rays, and a complete nutrition evaluation. Now we know where we need to go. Is it chiropractic? Probably. Is it a dietary issue? Is it a supplement issue? Is it a digestive issue? Maybe it's a medical issue. Maybe you need injections. Maybe you need medication. Maybe you need therapy. I don't know. So for an extremely low price, we've made it so that you can come in. Let's put together a plan to tell you what's going to be the best way to go. We accept almost all insurances. I teach car accidents to doctors and lawyers and insurance companies every year all over the world. In fact, this year I'm doing a seminar for doctors all over the world on the neurophysiology of a traumatic brain injury. What do you do about it once you get it? What kind of nutrition, what kind of supplements, what kind of food should you avoid? It's going to be a 4-hour seminar for doctors. So if you're in a car accident, I think you should come to the people that teach the doctors how to treat car accidents, and that's my team. So drjoe.com, make an appointment, stop suffering. Most people tell me every day, why didn't I do this sooner? If we don't have patients saying nice things to us by first half hour, we're open every day, I think something's wrong. And that's one of the reasons I get excited after 40 years. Constant positive feedback. Thank you. Oh my gosh, I'm sleeping better. My brain is better. My daughter's so much better. Autism, we talked about autism last week with mitochondrial function. And there's so many things you could do for the mitochondria, the part of the cell that generates electricity. I'm not saying I have a cure for autism. I'm saying let's work on the cellular level to try to get the cells working more efficiently. And we see it all the time. Not everybody gets 100% results, but it's a pretty cool job I have. drjoe.com. Alcohol. If you have anxiety, depression, not a good idea. In fact, alcohol is one of my 7 deadly sins. Remember those? Alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, artificial sweetener. Alcohol can severely increase the risk, is that the right word, of depression. So, I know you want to drink to forget. I don't know, like the Eagles song. Some drink to remember, some drink to forget. I don't want you to drink alcohol. There is no safe level of alcohol. Now people say, well, I heard red wine can help your heart. Yeah, but so can grapes. Without all the negative side effects. So can Dr. Joe's Super Greens, Essential Source, plant-based diet, intermittent fasting, cutting out gluten, cutting out glyphosate. There's so many ways to help the body without using alcohol as an excuse. Alcohol is a diuretic, so it dehydrates you. And alcohol chews up your B vitamins. So if you're going to drink, and I wish you wouldn't. Remember I said there's an option for everything. If you're going to drink, for every glass of alcohol you have, or every drink you have, I want you to have 3 glasses of water. I want to flush that alcohol out of the system. And you're going to take an extra dose of Dr. Joe's Super Greens, Dr. Joe's Essential Source, and Dr. Joe's B Complex to replace the nutrients and mitigate the damage. And you can get all those supplements, all our supplements, on the website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. Send me your health questions, drjoe.com. Happy to answer them for you. Again, that's free. Podcast, Dr. Joe for the Health of It. 2 podcasts a week, free. Social media, we post every single day. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn, free. The website, 4,000 hours of content, way more than that, maybe 5,000 now, of content. You can search the website, free. Why do I do this? Doctors yell at me all the time. Business consultants. What is wrong with you, Dr. Joe? Why are you giving this away for free? This is life-saving information. Because after 40 years, I realized that this is what I like doing. And so I'm doing it for me. But you get it. And all the supplements are on the website, drjoe.com. You can book appointments, drjoe.com. It's a great place to search. I want to be your doctor. I really do. I want to help get to the cause of your healthcare problems. That's what gets me excited after 40 years. So many people want to retire 5, 10 years. People say, when are you going to retire? I could retire now if I wanted to. I don't want to. Because I love what I do. I couldn't imagine not doing this and not sharing this information with you guys. Another thing we can do if we have anxiety, depression, is avoid those sweets, those comfort foods. cookies, cakes, frosting. Who doesn't love frosting? I love frosting. Oh my gosh. Vegan carrot cake with a vegan cream cheese frosting. Heaven. Raisins in there. Amazing. Now, if you're going to do a vegan cream cheese with like a allulose or something like that, it's not as good as the sugar. I'm not going to lie to you. But that's a better choice. Frosting oftentimes has something called trans fats, those omega-6 fatty acids. And the cells, your cell walls, have a wall around it, lipoprotein layers. Okay, lipid and fat and protein. If you're eating good fats, avocados, nuts, seeds, the body's going to use those fats to make these healthy cell walls. If you're eating bad fats, the body's going to use the bad fats to make these unhealthy, not very functional cell walls. And that becomes a problem. So just be very, very careful with any of the cookies, cakes, processed foods. You know, a simple rule is this. If it has a label on it, you shouldn't eat it. I know it's a silly thing to say, but if it has a label on it, and it specifically has a label, and you can't pronounce the ingredients, don't eat it. Some things are okay, like methylcobalamin, that might be okay, but please avoid the things that are processed. If it has a long shelf life, it means you're going to have a shorter shelf life. It's just that simple. So stay away from those packaged foods. Soy sauce. Soy sauce many times has something called monosodium glutamate. A lot of Asian food does. A lot of other food does too. It has over 40 different names. Autolyzed yeast, hydrolyzed vegetable protein, natural flavors, broth. All of these things are monosodium glutamate. And they're excitotoxins to the brain. It causes the brain to fire faster than it's supposed to. And that's why many of you, if you eat Asian food, you might get a headache. And soy sauce many times is made with wheat, which then has the gluten in it, and many times has the glyphosate in it, which we said kills off the good can start to kill off the good bacteria in your colon. So if you're going to do soy sauce and you like that flavor, and I do, I'm going to recommend organic tamari or organic coconut aminos. They are salty, but they don't have that problem with it. All right, folks, I got a lot more to cover. I don't have any more time. So if you want today's notes, and you should get them, by the way, because it's a lot more information I covered today, send me an email through the website, drjoe.com, and just say anxiety guide. Okay, and I'll send you the notes. It's real simple. It's in plain English. I know sometimes I ramble and I get excited, but when I put the notes together, I put it in plain English. If you want to make an appointment, drjoe.com. We can do virtual appointments if we need to. The supplements, Super Green, Essential Source, B-complex, nitric oxide, omega-3 fatty acids, all the other nutrients for the brain, drjoe.com. They're in the store section up there. Follow me on social media. Dr. Joe Esposito, Facebook, The Dr. Joe Esposito, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn. The podcast, Dr. Joe, For the Health of It. Folks, I want to be your doctor. I really do. And I'm trying to prove that every day for the past 40 years. So drjoe.com. Folks, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next time. Covered about a third of what I wanted to today. That's why I'm putting the notes together for you kids. John, you have questions for me?
Are bamboo shoots a healthy choice?
Yes. Next question. I like easy ones like that.
I enjoy roasting potatoes and sweet potatoes together. Should I add a rutabaga? What
Sure.
are some other vegetables that I should add?
Rutabagas, peppers, onions, leeks, garlic, anything that really grows in the ground. Those root vegetables are amazing. Brussels sprouts you could throw in there if you wanted to. Again, extra virgin organic olive oil at a low temperature or coconut oil. Cook it, cool it, eat it the next day. You're going to get the prebiotics, which feeds the bacteria in the colon, which helps brain function and immune function and everything else. Much better choice. Throw some oregano in there, antibiotic, antiviral, and antifungal. Garlic, antiviral and antifungal, and antibiotic as well. Lots of good things you can do in that. What else you got?
Are sweet peas a healthy choice?
Sure, absolutely, no problem. Try to do organic if you can. One of my go-to emergency lunches, because I bring my lunch every day to work unless I have a meeting, and if I have a meeting, many times I won't even eat a lot there. I'll just bring my lunch. Organic sweet peas. Okay, I boil them up, just heat them up a little bit. I keep them frozen. I add some extra virgin organic olive oil, oregano or Italian seasoning, salt, pepper, and garlic. Mix it up, and now I've got like a pea casserole, kind of, you know. If you want to get really crazy, take some sprouted bread and let it go stale. My grandmother used to do this with the bread, because back then bread went stale very quickly, and then we'd save them, and we'd grind them up into breadcrumbs. So take some sprouted bread, let it go stale, grind it into breadcrumbs, add some breadcrumbs to it, mix it in. You've got a complete meal, maybe $3. maximum, maybe 4 if you want to get crazy. Tastes great, very filling, very good for you. So you now know one of my secrets. When I don't have anything in the refrigerator to eat, frozen peas. What else? A lot of questions, John. You sent John today.
How can nutrition help with eosinophiliac or high-level IgE triggered asthma?
Eosinophiliac. I'm not sure what that is. But I have somebody in the audience today nodding her head profusely because she has a lot of breathing issues. Let's just put it that way. We can say that, okay? We can say that safely. Good. Asthma, you want to stay away from the mucus. And again, whatever that other word was, you want to reduce mucus in the body. And so wheat and dairy products, absolutely zero in your diet. None. Zero, not a little, zero. How much? None. Okay. Sugar, inflammation. Cut out the sugars in your diet. Chiropractically, you want to check the nerves right at C7, T1, lower part of the neck, the upper part of the lungs, the upper part of thoracic. That's the nerve supply into the lungs. I've had asthma patients, full-blown asthma attacks many times in my career. Can't breathe, freaking out, thinking they're going to die. I adjust them C7, T1, that area, and the breathing comes back almost instantaneously. So, not every case. Chiropractic care, anti-inflammatory diet, nitric oxide opens up the blood vessels, increases circulation. B-complex helps the nerves work better. Supergreen is an essential source, of course. Digestive enzymes, many cases for people with issues that have a lot of mucus, helps break down the food more efficiently. Adjusting the stomach, pulling the stomach away from the diaphragm so you digest your food more efficiently, so you bring down the inflammation in the colon and the whole body. Is that enough? That's a good start, I think. Yeah, you want to listen to me on that one. So, John's checking for more questions here. So,
do the following foods break a fast? Apple cider vinegar, spices, and MCT oil.
No, and yes. Okay, MCT oil break the fast. You want to eat something less than 50 calories and then wait several hours. Then you could probably do that. So Supergreen's an essential source. They're usually good if you mix them with water. Vinegar is fine. Tea is fine. Sweetened with stevia, fine. Yeah, but the medium chain triglycerides is going to give you more than 50 calories, and that'll break your fast. So. All right. A lot of good questions today. You guys are smart.
Are some teas even healthier drinking than water?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, sure. I use slippery elm tea. Slippery elm helps coat my mucous membranes when I talk a lot, and I do. I got to protect my voice. Slippery elm is very good for people with irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's, colitis, digestive issues, gas, bloating, diarrhea, constipation. So many benefits to it. You can do calming teas, teas that can help you sleep. There are teas that women's hormones support. There are teas that stimulate the bowels for bowel function. So, yeah, teas are actually better than water in many cases. So, because they do have some, I call it medicinal properties, but health benefits, yeah. Okay. All right, John's back at it.
What are your favorite 4th of July memories?
Favorite 4th of July memories. First thing that came to mind, my cousin Johnny Paulie and Mikey's house in Lyndhurst, New Jersey with Aunt Mary and Uncle Sharky, their dog King, and going across the street to the school and setting off fireworks and having a good time. Now, we ate roasted chicken. We ate hot dogs. We ate hamburgers. But the food was different then. We didn't have steroids, chemicals, hormones, antibiotics, genetically modified food, glyphosate. It was still not good, but it wasn't as good as... it wasn't as bad as it is today. So I got invited to 3 4th of July parties this year. I'm not sure which one I'm going to go to because I haven't gotten any invitations yet. But they said, can you make it? Can you make it, Dr. Joe? We want you at our party. And if I go, I know what's going to happen. It happens every party. What are you going to eat? Oh, don't show Dr. Joe. I'm eating a hot dog. I don't care what you eat. Don't care what I eat. Okay? But if I go, I'll probably bring some hummus. Maybe I'll bring some guacamole. If people want to grill something, mushrooms work really well for that. You can do portobello mushrooms. Vegetables work well. Organic corn. You could do skewers with peppers and onions on it and tomatoes. So there's lots of things you can do and still be cool at the party. And I don't drink, of course. And so I'll drink a seltzer or I'll drink a stevia sweetened soda. And so I can go party with the rest of them and still have a good time and not kill myself. So, but yeah, the first thing that came to mind was my cousins, Johnny, Paulie, and Mikey. So, and they're all still with us, actually. We still communicate, which is nice.
That is all.
All right, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate it. What are you going to do? Follow us on social media, right? Dr. Joe Esposito. Facebook is the Dr. Joe Esposito. And any questions, supplements, or make an appointment, drjoe.com. We will talk to you